Good night. Good night, Sxmtalk, and welcome to your favorite online internet program, www.sxmtalk.com. Of course, I'm your host, Christopher Emmanuel, and trust you me, we're going to have a very hard-wrenching, power-hitting, off-the-gloves tonight program. Call a friend, call someone, and tell them log on tonight to your favorite online program, www.sxmtalk.com, because really and truly, we're going to be really even throwing in the boots at everybody tonight. And like I said on my Facebook page, I post up the topic. Majority of 8 is illegitimate. And I'm going to explain the reason for that as we go along in the program. But I want to say that finally the truth came out, and we now know the reason as to why the government fell and the government break up. And I must say, and I must admit, that I'm not upset, I'm not vexed, and I think that they played their cards well, and they did have done what they had to do. But my whole thing about it is the conspiracy in terms of lying and coming up with an excuse for the people of St. Martin. But like I said, at least the truth has prevailed, and we know why the government has fell. Because when you listen to the Member of Parliament, when you listen to him today, the Member of Parliament, Leroy DeWeaver, he said it. He made it clear. He said he remembered one time being a coalition partner. That Member of Parliament, George Pantaflet, make a remark and said, 2 minus 10, or 10 minus 2 is 8. And by doing that, he looked aside, he looked at the side of the room, and he looked directly at Member of Parliament Leroy DeWeaver. And he was like, but he turned to his colleague, Roy Marlin, and asked, what does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? Does he mean that they're going to kick us out? Does he mean that my Prime Minister is not going to be Prime Minister anymore? Does he mean that Cornelius DeWeaver is not going to be Minister anymore? And we are coalition partners? What exactly does he mean by that? So sometimes you have to preempt. And you need to know what the word preempt means. The word preempt means we're going to do to you before you do to us. So and really and truly, at least we are satisfied and we can clear our thoughts and know that our ministers were professional and there were cohesiveness. So now there's a contradiction when you read Tia Heidegger's part in the newspaper. And I must commend Todd Peterson on his article, because Tia Heidegger, you got the nerve, you got the gall to write and talk about professionalism and talk about what is illegal and the people need to know, but we're going to come to that. I want to stick to this point so far. So in other words, the Democratic Party orchestrated the fall of the government before the National Alliance decided to get rid of the Democratic Party. So before the National Alliance got rid of the Democratic Party got rid of the National Alliance. And I would say, in this game of politics, they outsmarted the National Alliance. Because nothing is wrong with what they did. They preempted. They thought it was going to happen. They thought it was coming. And I would say this, it should have come long time. So I'm saying this to my boys. We had to get rid of them long time ago. They were no use to us. We had them tagging along. But no, we didn't do it, so they have done it to us. So at least now we know the truth. We know the reason. Okay? We know the reason why the government fell. Okay? And the government fell because the Democratic Party, Leroy DeWeaver, Roy Marlin, was scared that Sarah Westcott Williams and Cornelius DeWeaver would no longer be a minister. And that's the reason why the government fell. Because he said it today. He said it today. And that's the reason why. So at least we are clear with that. So then the whole issue of no professionalism and no cohesiveness is a blatant lie to the people of St. Martin. Okay? It's a blatant lie to the people of St. Martin, and that we can understand. So then, right, it goes to show that there's no sort of concern whatsoever. No sort of concern whatsoever to how the people feel. But again, when you look at this game and you try to understand the game of politics and politics, whilst we was playing chess, they were playing checkers. So there's no hard feelings. There's no love lost. I actually feel good. I actually feel good because we understand the reality of this game. I understand the reality of this game, and I see how it's done. And for that, right, it's not that I want to commend anything. I'm just saying it's a learning process as to how nasty the game is. They are not your friends. They are not our friends. Okay? It's just about interest and survival. So as long as one can survive and his interest is being maintained, we would go along with them. So they got all that they got, or they got all that they needed, they got all that they wanted from being part of the coalition with the National Alliance and the I3. They got what they set aside to get. Once they got it, once it was sealed and delivered and tucked away, we have no use for these boys anymore. Let's get rid of them. Romain Laville got his land. He got his money. Leroy DeWeaver got the land that he wanted to get that he couldn't get from T. Heidegger. He got it. So we have no use to be part of this coalition no more with the National Alliance. Let's get rid of these boys. And St. Martin people, there you have it. That is it. That is the reason why the government fell. It has nothing to do with professionalism. It has nothing to do with cohesiveness. But I am saying this to you, St. Martin people. Keep your heads up. We got news coming for them because I know something that they don't know. And one morning you're going to wake up, somebody you're going to wake up to, how should I say, inspiring news. You're going to wake up to it. I want to get to the issue, and I have the paper here. I want to get to the issue of why I say the members of the majority, okay, of 8 is illegitimate. And I want you as St. Martin people to understand me well. Okay? And I know you got the smart ones, them, or they're going to suck their teeth and this and that, and that's how it is. But I want you guys to understand well. Understand how it is well. We have a majority of 8, which is the 6 members of the UP party. Well, I should say the 5 members of the UP party, 1 independent member, Romain Laville, and 2 members of the Democratic Party, which makes 8. We still need to know what side Patrick Illage is on because he's AWOL these days. Because we are hearing the rumors, but we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He must show up to Parliament one day and show his hand. Which side are you on? Who are you supporting? But I'm going to stick to my point that the majority of 8 is illegitimate. And let me explain to you why. And you guys are going to freak out when you hear these numbers. Right? You have a majority of 8. And we're going to start with the highest vote getter in that majority of 8. The highest vote getter in that majority of 8 is Gracita Arundel. Gracita Arundel with 335 votes. 335 votes. So many people, get a pen, get a paper, because I want you guys to add up and put the numbers together. So yes, they may have a majority of 8 in terms of the seat in parliament. But in terms of the votes in numbers of the people of St. Martin who have spoken, they are in the minority. Since everything is about majority and minority, because a majority in parliament don't have confidence in the ministers anymore, so we want to send them home. So that is fair, that is legal, that is right. But a majority in the Council of Ministers want to dissolve parliament. That ain't good. That ain't fair, and that is not right. The Prime Minister don't have to go along with it when she is in the minority of one. Because Cornelius the Weaver did not vote. So you had 5 members in the Council of Ministers that voted to dissolve Parliament, 1 member, the Prime Minister, that voted against the dissolvement of Parliament, and 1 abstention. But that's a majority also. That's a majority also. And then you have everybody saying it's only the parliament. The parliament is the highest because the boss and this and the boss is that. Show me in the Constitution where that is. Because everybody's a constitutional expert. And to suit them, oh, the parliament is the right side. The parliament is the good side. So what counts in terms of the decision from the majority in the Council of Ministers? And if it's anybody, Mr. Leroy De Weaver, who is eating a mean data and behaving as such, is the Prime Minister Sarah Westcott Williams. Okay? Is the Prime Minister Sarah Westcott Williams. But we can't see, nor can we hear what goes on in the Council of Ministers with her dictatorial, Idi Amin behavior. We can't see it, nor can we hear it. But again, I'm going to say this with the National Alliance. You got outgunned and outsmarted. Again. Because we always have to be the Mother Teresa. We always have to be the savior. We always have to be the one to do things right. Okay? We all got to be the ones to follow the law. We are going to be the ones, the boys in the straight jacket. And it does not work for us. And we don't seem to understand it. We can't get nothing done for us. For we can't get nothing done. For everybody else, we get things done. When it comes to getting things done for us, we got to follow the law. A minister can't this. And why you don't try that and why you try that. But for everybody else, because Romain Laville got his land in 16 days. 16 days. Property, what Leroy De Weaver was fighting for when he was in the coalition government with Theo, he couldn't get it. They refused to give it to him. Can't get nothing from them. He came with the National Alliance, one time he get it. We give it to them. And look where we are today. He gone back with them. So when it comes to us, we can't get nothing. No, I got to hit us hard tonight. Because again, it's a learning lesson for us. So I ain't upset. I am more upset with we. Because yes, if it's one thing, I have to agree with Tia Heiliger's letter. The writing was on the wall. The blinking writing was on the wall for a very long time. And you guys and we was warned over and over and over. But no. No. Now, man, we good. We doing great. We all right. We sharing more. Pressure going up. I'm vexed. I'm vexed because we get outsmarted again. And the thing about it, what is hurting now, is that the people have confidence in us. The people have confidence in us. And they show it election after election in terms of the numbers. In terms of numbers. And I have it here. We is who they have confidence in. And we continue to leave. We continue to leave these leprosy mulatto people outsmart us over and over. They got to go and dip 7 times in the pond and the river to clean themselves. But we completely and allow them to outsmart us all the time. So yes, Mr. Heidegger, I agree with that part of your letter. The writing was on the wall. Let me come back to the numbers. So, some people, get your pen. Get your pen and your paper and write them down, because I'm going to call out the numbers and I need you guys to understand. I'm going to write out the numbers. In total, I'm going to give you the numbers first. Right? In total, the 2 DP members in Parliament represents, in terms of votes, 302 votes. Leroy DeWeaver with 174 votes. Roy Marlin with 128 votes. So they represent 302 votes. A minimum, a meager, a mere 302 votes they represent. Which, with a number of votes of the full slate, including the Prime Minister, give them 2 seats. The Up Party, Gracita Arenel got 335 votes. Romain Laville, 186 votes. Sylvia Myers, 255 votes. Jules James, 152 votes. Yanchi Leonard, 111 votes. Ruth Douglas, 84 votes. 84 votes. In total, the Up Party represented, with these 6 members of Parliament, 6 members of Parliament, have in total 1,123 votes. So they represent 1,123 votes. Now, listen to the comparison in numbers. Okay? The independent member, Franz Richardson, 695 votes. George Pantoflet, 425 votes. Rudolph Samuel, 268 votes. Hyacinth Richardson, 334 votes. Louis Laveis, 351 votes. Lloyd Richardson, 475 votes. So in terms of votes, okay, in terms of votes alone, the independent member and the 5 members of the National Alliance have totally blown up NDP out of the park in terms of representation in numbers in Parliament. So they have the majority of votes. They have the majority of vote getters in Parliament than the majority of 8. That's the reason why I deem them illegitimate. You can't speak on behalf of the people of St. Martin because you don't have the numbers. Nobody voted for you guys to represent them so that you can talk. But the system allow it. So of course, everybody is equal. But for Christopher Emmanuel, right now we have an illegitimate government representing us in Parliament. I haven't even done the calculation as to how much it add up to. Okay? But 695 and 425 alone is done over 1,000. It's way over 1,000. All right? So, together with UP and DP, one representing 302, the other representing 1,123. Okay, give them like 1,400 and something votes. We just need 3 members of the independent, 1 from independent and 2 from alliance, to be over 1,500 already. So now, let's talk about majority if you want to really come down to the nitty-gritty in terms of numbers. Because in the Council of Ministers, the 5 that vote against the 1 don't count. Has no merit. Only the Prime Minister is a dictator, and only her words and her rule is king and queen. Only what she say goes. So the Prime Minister refusing over and over and over to adhere to the vote in the Council of Ministers to put the motion on the agenda to dissolve Parliament don't exist. Michael Ferrier, Alston Lawrence, those sort of guys don't want to hear about those numbers. That don't matter. They don't mean nothing. But you know what is so hypocritical about it? All of them going to be on a list. All of them want to run. All of them want to get into government. They might be a minister. And if you tell them, well, you don't have no say as a minister, they're going to push up their face. But it's convenient to them now. You see, St. Martin? And that's the kind of constitution that we have. That's the kind of makeup in government that we have. But I ain't mad because we was outplayed again. We was outplayed again. All right? But those are the numbers. And we should get t-shirts and pamphlets and stickers and things printed with those numbers to remind you that nobody voted for you, Roy, with your big grubbly mouth. And me was a trail one, and me was a trail one, and I say something for trail one, and come on, brother. Seriously? Huh? Nobody voted for you guys. So you guys are illegitimate as a government. So what we have here is an illegitimate government ruling. But my question still stands. Which supersedes which? The ministers in a majority to dissolve Parliament? Or Parliament in a majority to dissolve or send home the ministers? Which supersedes which? And you have to explain why the other over the other. So if it's the ministers over the members of Parliament, why? And if it's the members of Parliament over the ministers, why? Why? And the simple mere reason because we don't have confidence no more in you, and we is your boss, and that don't jive. It doesn't make that doesn't add up to a reason. There must be the reason why. Because Parliament is the highest legislative, this is the highest legislative body. But does that make Parliament higher than the judiciary? Does it make it higher than the executive branch? Now, I am not saying these things. I am saying these things in terms of asking you guys, the professionals out there, that everybody is a constitutional expert now knows. Before we come on to the end of the program, I want to deal with this letter from Tia Heiliger talking about democracy and democracy prevail and there's winners and there's losers. And let me tell you something, Mr. Heiliger, you shouldn't talk. Don't open your mouth, partner. You right now, you have the audacity, the gall to talk? And talk about the minister did something illegal and is punishable by, and that's what the people need to know. The people don't want to know that. They don't care about that. What they want to know is you asking Yap Van Evil, okay, from Bada Bing to make a tape to blackmail member of parliament, Patrick Illich, so that you could get back in government. Is that true? That is what the people want to know. Why? Because Todd Peterson put it clear. In the Penal Code, Article P38, I think, it is a crime punishable by law, which means you can go to jail for it. That is what the people want to know. Don't come with your smoke screen and you're trying to change it. So when you look at the conniving, nasty ways, you're a criminal. Because everything you did to get back into government is criminal. Bribery is a crime. So you bribe Romain Laville. You blackmail Patrick Illich. And you call yourself a leader. Huh? You buy votes. And you're calling yourself a leader. You're not a leader, my friend. You're a gangster. You're a mobster. That's what you are. And you got the audacity to come in the newspaper and talk about the future. And there's losers. The only people that lost in this is the people of St. Martin. Because not only do we have an illegitimate government, in terms of representation, in terms of numbers of votes, they also went against the wishes of the people. And let me say this to St. Martin people, we surely have a good way of demanding and voicing our concerns. A mere 4,000 or 5,000 votes, signatures. How you want to get change? What was wrong with us? This sort of passive behavior. St. Martin people, let me tell you something. And this goes for all of you guys, St. Martin people. I ain't voting no more. I don't want to vote no more. But when you don't do it, Aram Najani, he going to vote for sure. Jesus Lopez Wangwasia, he going to vote for sure. Luan Ching, he is going to vote for sure. Okay, Abuzu, Akola, they're going to vote for sure. Frion, they are going to vote for sure. But we St. Martin people, the Richardsons, the Gums, the Flanders, the Brooks, we don't want to vote no more. I don't feel like voting no more. All of them is criminals. You better stop that stupid and idiotic attitude and rake up the numbers and go out there and vote. Because when you don't vote, someone is going to do it for you. And then you have no voice and you have no say. But don't worry. I'm going to sum up St. Martin problems in one word. All that we are feeling today, all that we are going through today, all the suffering, all the pain, everything that we think can be done right or should be done right or have gone wrong or the country's not moving can be summed up in one word. And one word only. I'm going to end it with that one word. And I'm saying it so that St. Martin people can understand my narrative, my monologue. You can understand where I'm pointing and I'm heading to. Our problems in this country, to where we are today, the sentiment, how we are feeling, is summed up in one word. And with that word, I bid you good night. And that word is leadership. Leadership. Take care of yourselves, St. Martin people. Enjoy the weekend. God bless you guys. Goodbye.
There was a time when people dare not utter a word. There was a time when people were in the dark and searching for accurate information. Just when all hope is lost and frustration hangs in the balance, Sxmtalk emerges and broke the silence. Join host Christopher Emmanuel for live and serious discussions and hard talk.